Content warning. The following video contains material that may be harmful or traumatizing to some audiences. Viewer discretion is advised.
Welcome to the hit list. You can't escape your face on the news. Don't mess with fate. Locked up in prison, wood chipper running hot. Police on a mission, hope you don't get caught. Silver bracelets tight, get arrested tonight. In this endless fight, can't hide from the lies. Lies and deception, caught in the storm. Future in question, nowhere left to run. Silver bracelets tight, get arrested tonight. In this endless fight, can't hide from the light. The choices you made, heading one way. No turning back, this price to pay. Lies and deception, caught in the storm. Future in question, nowhere left to run. Silver bracelets tight, get arrested tonight. In this endless fight, can't hide from the light. The choices you made, heading one way. No turning back, this price to pay. Oh yeah, no, no, yeah, yeah. The choices you made, heading one way. No turning back, this price to pay. Oh. Whoa, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Our other top story tonight, a Weirton man has been arrested on multiple felony charges after an investigation into allegations of sexual abuse involving a child. 55-year-old Chalmer Noble was arrested today and has been charged with 6 counts of sexual abuse by a parent, guardian, or person in a position of trust. According to police, the investigation involved a child who was in Noble's care at his residence in Weirton. Noble was arraigned in Hancock County Magistrate Court, where bond was set at $120,000. He was then taken to the Northern Regional Jail. Noble is presumed innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. Stay with 7 News for updates.
A former Kannapolis City School employee is out on bond tonight, charged with possessing AI-generated child sexual exploitation material.
And the case raises a bigger question. How do you prosecute a crime when the image wasn't real to begin with? WCNC Charlotte's Miles Harris has the latest from Kannapolis.
Well, 47-year-old Sean Hunter, he is out on a $45,000 bond. But court documents reveal that the charge that he's facing stems from AI-generated explicit images.
Court records list the offense date as June 25th, and police say that the case started with a tip from the Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force. Investigators, they searched Hunter's Kannapolis home and arrested him. Now, Kannapolis City Schools confirms that Hunter is a former employee, saying it took immediate action consistent with district policy once it learned of the allegations. I spoke with an attorney not involved with this case about how an AI-generated image changes what prosecutors have to prove.
They successfully prosecute cases where there is a mens rea requirement, meaning that you have to know that you've done something wrong. You have to have a guilty mind when you do it. That gets proven all the time in court and can be proven circumstantially and that sort of thing. And the statute provides for that.
North Carolina lawmakers have already expanded the definition of material under the state's exploitation law to include AI-generated images, meaning a charge like Hunter's can stand even if no real child was photographed.
If you sought the image out and you had reason to know that the image depicted an underage person, even though it's AI-generated, under the statute, you're going to be prosecuted much the same way you would if it was a live, real person that you were looking at.
And Hunter had worked with Kannapolis City Schools since 2018. In Kannapolis, I'm Miles Harris, WCNC Charlotte.
A 72-year-old man is behind bars in Grant County accused of molesting a child. State police say someone gave them information that Leland Smith Sr. sexually abused a child under the age of 14. Smith is charged with 2 counts of child molesting.
The meetings for underage sex were arranged across southern Snohomish County, from public parks in Mountlake Terrace to church parking lots in Edmonds. Court documents state in each case, undercover online operatives made the situation clear. Detective, I'm 13 years old. A suspect looking for sex says he has no problem with that as long as you don't snitch on me.
I've been doing this for 33 years, and unfortunately, I think I've stopped being shocked.
Lori Vanderberg is executive director of Dawson Place that advocates for children of abuse. She says dating apps make it much easier for predators to groom vulnerable children. One suspect promising being relaxed helps. Tequila is good for that, adding, I can get Plan B if you want.
People from all walks of life show up. We've had firefighters, we've had people that drive school buses show up in their school buses.
Some of the cases are especially disturbing, like investigators posing as parents selling their own 12 and 13-year-old daughters. Suspect, just to confirm, no legal entrapment here, correct? Detective, not a cop, just want your money and for you to get what you want. Suspect, 1 hour for both girls, $200.
There's an amazing appetite for this, unfortunately.
According to the Department of Justice, 1 in 5 children are sexually solicited online every year. And at any given time, up to 50,000 predators are estimated to be active on the internet targeting minors. Vanderberg hopes the publicity surrounding these arrests sends a message.
Because they realize that sometimes it could be a trick or a sting, or they might end up getting arrested.
King 5 is not naming the suspects arrested here because they have not yet been formally charged. Those charges, though, are expected to come next week. Live in Linwood, Eric Wilkinson, King 5 News.
Thank you. A safety alert tonight as thousands flock to South Florida for the World Cup. An undercover sting catching several men allegedly preying on children. Local 10's Janine Stanwood is in Miami with the warning.
The Miami-Dade state attorney, along with state officials, vowed that they would be cracking down on human trafficking during World Cup activities. According to the arrest reports that we've obtained, the 6 people who were arrested right here in the city of Miami were examples of just that.
Sir, you were arrested for a serious charge called human trafficking. He's using a computer to meet a minor to have sex.
One after another and another in front of a judge Wednesday, busted in undercover stings that have been happening, quote, in preparation for the FIFA matches. 6 men accused of human trafficking.
He believed that he was negotiating with an individual to where he would be purchasing or buying sex with someone he believed to be under the age of 18.
Investigators reportedly posted an ad online depicting underage girls and with a phone number. On Tuesday, the men called, police say. According to the arrest reports, in each case, the men agreed to pay money for sex with what he believed to be a juvenile. In one case, a man allegedly said he'd pay $200 for a quick visit with a 14 and 15-year-old. But after arriving at the rendezvous point, the men instead were met by cops.
We have already executed various proactive undercover operations.
This was the Miami-Dade state attorney last month, warning they'd be cracking down on sex crimes and other illicit activity that tick up during big events like the World Cup.
Count 1, human trafficking, is no bond.
All 6 men are being held in jail.
According to investigators, 5 of those 6 men arrested have listed addresses right here in South Florida. There were also arrests that happened in the Homestead area last month. The investigation is ongoing. We're in Miami. I'm Janine Stanwood, Local 10 News. Janine.
Jefferson ISD teacher and coach is behind bars after being arrested in Jefferson County. Investigators say that Derek Pivito, he is charged with sexual assault of a child. The Hardin-Jefferson School District says this arrest, it stems from allegations of an inappropriate relationship with a student there at Hardin-Jefferson High School. District leaders say that he worked there during the last school year, but he's no longer an employee there at the district. They've also notified the TEA, Texas Education Agency, and Child Protective Services. Investigators, they're now asking parents or students if they have any information to contact the Jefferson County Sheriff's Office. Pivito, he had recently been hired by Jasper ISD as its head boys track coach, defensive coordinator, and special ed teacher. The case, it remains under investigation.
A convicted sex offender pleading not guilty to a 14-count federal indictment charging him with child sex offenses. Stephen Snyder Jr. of Daphne previously pleaded guilty in Mobile County to attempted sexual abuse of a child younger than 12. A judge sentenced him to 5 years probation. The new indictment stems from alleged conduct that prosecutors say happened in March. Snyder is charged with aggravated sexual abuse, sexual exploitation of a child, transportation and possession of child pornography, and possession of obscene visual representations of children. Snyder faces a possible sentence of life in prison. He also has a probation revocation hearing in state court based on the new charges.
But we begin this noon hour with a man sentenced to federal prison for possessing child pornography. Good afternoon and thanks for joining us. I'm Dana Winkleplack. A judge sentenced Ryan Wallace of Clark County, Illinois to nearly 6 years in federal prison. Court documents say that the FBI found hundreds of videos and pictures of child sexual abuse material on his phone. Once Wallace is released from prison, he will be placed on supervised release for 5 years.
Banning registered sex offenders from seeking office died at the state capitol.
It comes after a pretty big debate today in a Senate Elections Committee. Lawmakers debated 2 bills seeking to expand the list of crimes that would disqualify a person from running for office here in California. The bill's author hoped to prevent anyone who has been required to register as a sex offender in the state from running for office. But committee chair Democrat Scott Wiener proposed an amendment to narrow down that limitation to those registered for life.
That amendment was denied and the bill was killed. We talked with Senator Wiener about it today.
And there are a lot of people who go in the sex offender registry for lower level offenses who I don't know that everyone would believe they should be banned from running for office if they want to. This is potentially a very dangerous road we're going down to say that minor crimes are going to ban you for life for running for office. That we live in a democracy where people get to run for office, including people who have a lot of flaws.
The bill was introduced after a registered sex offender tried to run for Fresno City Council. In a statement tonight, the bill's author said in part, quote, "The bottom line is this. I was not willing to make additional amendments to this bill. I made a promise to my community that I would do everything in my power to ensure they would never have to go through something like this again. Accepting additional amendments to this bill would have jeopardized that promise."
The other bill, which did pass committee, seeks to add serious sexual assault and human trafficking to the list.
Something that everyone is talking about, one of our most viewed stories on News4Jax, the principal at Baldwin Middle Senior High School now facing a felony charge. Investigators say that he failed to report child abuse, so police arrested Michael Townsend yesterday, about a month after a Baldwin teacher was also arrested on a separate felony charge involving a student. News4Jax reporter Brianna Brownlee is live at that school this morning trying to piece together what all of this means. Good morning, Bree.
Good morning, Mel. Yes, many parents may be waking up with many questions and concerns after the principal was arrested on felony charges. However, at this time, investigators aren't giving us the full details of what led up to that arrest. But here is what we know so far. Townsend had already been reassigned in early June while Duval County Public Schools carried out an internal personnel investigation. The district says the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office and the state attorney's office later found enough evidence to secure an arrest warrant for failing to report child abuse. Now, in a message to Baldwin families, Regional Superintendent Tim Simmons called the arrest difficult to share, but said the safety of students and staff remains the district's top priority. Now, the arrest comes about a month after James Mulvey, a Baldwin teacher, was also arrested on a felony charge involving a student. Now, detectives say in that case, emails were exchanged between Mulvey and a juvenile victim through their school email accounts. Now, as the school year was about to end, an arrest report states that Mulvey asked the victim to share her personal email address so they could keep talking. So at this point, the district has not said whether the two cases are connected. However, News4JAX, we are continuing to work on this and we'll bring you updates as we learn more. Reporting, Brianna Brownlee, Channel 4, the local station.
And Bailey, a former Laredo middle school teacher, now headed to prison for decades. This after a Webb County jury convicted her in a child sex abuse case. Tonight, we're hearing the sentence read in court and what the victim and his family says, how they are feeling about this entire situation. Kobe Arriaga has the details. Kobe?
Thanks, Ryan. Well, today this case came down to a single number, 33 years, read out loud in open court. And as former Gonzales Middle School teacher Adriana Ruyan was convicted on all 3 counts, and during sentencing, jurors heard impact statements from the victim and his mother.
The verdict of the jury has been entered, and I hereby sentence you for the offense of continuous sexual abuse of a child under 14 years old, felony 1, count 1, to 33 years in the Texas Department of Criminal Justice.
That's the moment it became official. Adriana Ruyan, a former Laredo middle school teacher, is now headed to prison for decades. The 33-year sentence is for continuous sexual abuse of a child under 14. She also received 13 years for indecency with a child and 10 years for an improper relationship between an educator and student. But those sentences don't pile up, they overlap, bringing her sentence to 33 years in total. Plus, the jury added an extra $20,000 in fines. Prosecutors say the victim was 13 when the abuse happened, and in a statement to the court, he says this has followed him for years, telling jurors he still struggles with depression and anxiety, adding there were moments where he felt hopeless and didn't want to live. His mother spoke next, telling the court she believes Ruyan manipulated her son and saying this is what set off his depression and anxiety.
Yeah, this was my son because of you. And I'm happy he's still here, even though he has been going through so much with his mental health and anxiety and depression. I prefer for him to keep recovering of this trauma that you did to him. He was just a 13-year-old boy. You changed him completely.
Ruyan was taken into custody after sentencing and ordered to begin serving her time in the Texas prison system. She was arrested in December of 2023, pleaded not guilty, and a jury convicted her after 2 days of testimony in the 341st District Court. And tonight, the family says they've lived with the fallout for years, and they're hoping this 33-year sentence finally brings accountability and hopefully keeps other kids from becoming the next victim. For KGNS News, Kobe Arriaga.
All right, thank you, Kobe. Before sentencing, prosecutors told jurors that this was a serious betrayal of trust and asked for a tough prison term. Meanwhile, Ruyan's attorney asked for less time, saying she deserved a chance to get help and try and turn her life around.
Your Honor, I think you just hold us for a second as the victim or the victim's family brought.
Okay.
Thank you.
Good morning, Your Honor. Robert Botnick on behalf of Mr. Smetana, 216-245-9245. Your Honor, we've had a copy of the indictment in excess of 24 hours. We will waive the reading of it today in open court, enter a not guilty plea, and ask that the original bond be continued.
Thank you. On behalf of the state.
Thank you, Your Honor. Samantha Soul on behalf of the state of Ohio. Your Honor, we have no objection to the original monetary bond being continued. That is the recommended bond from the bond commissioner. However, based on the facts of this case, we would request 2 additional bond conditions. Your Honor, this is a serious case involving a 12-year-old child victim where the defendant is alleged to have met this 12-year-old online.
Hold on one moment. If you could move towards the microphone.
Thank you, I apologize. This is a serious case involving a 12-year-old victim where the defendant is alleged to have met a 12-year-old online and then coordinated multiple meetups near her house to engage in sexual intercourse. So therefore, the state would request 2 additional bond conditions. One would be GPS standard monitoring because he traveled from Chardon, Ohio to Parma Heights to meet with this 12-year-old for the purpose of sexual intercourse. And 2, a restriction on the use of all electronic devices because he utilized these to meet up with this individual for sexual intercourse. Over the course of about a month, there was an exchange of over 4,500 messages with the 12-year-old. Thank you.
In response?
Thank you very much, Your Honor. Your Honor, this bond was originally set in Parma Municipal Court. At this point in time, it was approximately 2 months ago. The bond was posted on May 11th when Mr. Smetana was being held in the county jail. Since that period of time, Your Honor, there have been 0 allegations of any bond violations. He's been able to remain in the community. There have not been anything brought to my attention that he's even made any attempts to travel anywhere near where the alleged victim resides, have any contact with her or her family, or for that anything else. So we think that the bond, when it was originally set in Parma, it was appropriate. It took into consideration all of the factors that were at play today. They were still in play at that point in time, Your Honor, and we're asking that the original bond be continued as originally set without any further conditions as requested by the state.
Thank you. At this time, the original bond will be continued, which is a $50,000 cash surety property with an order of no contact with the victim. DNA is ordered, and there's also an HIV order. GPS standard monitoring will be ordered, as well as restriction on any electric devices. This case is before Judge Nancy First, with the first pretrial being set for July 15th at 9 o'clock.
Your Honor, is electronic communication without monitoring or observation permitted in order for Mr. Smetana to at least have contact with our office?
Yes.
Thank you.
A DeKalb County man arrested in Kendallville last week now faces a child solicitation charge. Newly released court documents allege 42-year-old Jason Purdy was using a fake name on a dating app to communicate with underage girls. Documents also show a group called Blue Collar Predator Hunters are the ones who turned in Purdy after he had conversed with their decoy since March. After exchanging numbers with the decoy, Purdy's conversation turned sexual in nature. Police believe Purdy knew the decoy was 14 years old, but in court documents, Purdy said he did not know what they were talking about. He also said he did not confirm or deny those allegations. The DeKalb Central School District sent a note yesterday saying, quote, "We understand this news is concerning for our families. We remain committed to providing a safe, secure, and supportive environment for every student. If additional information becomes available that directly impacts our school community, we'll communicate promptly with our families." Read their full statement on Wayne.com.
And new at 11, an accused predator arrested and charged for a disturbing crime is locked up in the Oakland County Jail. Police say 60-year-old Bradley Martin attempted to meet someone that he believed was a 13-year-old girl after connecting with her online. Now, we typically don't show mugshots, but investigators are looking for other potential victims. 7 News Detroit reporter Darren Cunningham spoke with the sheriff about the case and how it all unfolded.
I'm in Dearborn Heights, not too far from where 60-year-old Bradley Kyle Martin lives, a man investigators say thought he was driving to meet a child. Instead, he drove into a sting.
He believed, it was a real 13-year-old, and he showed up.
Unbeknownst to Bradley Kyle Martin, he had a date with Oakland County Sheriff's deputies.
Good job, Oakland County.
The arrest came after Martin allegedly started communicating with what he thought was a 13-year-old about a month ago, arranging to eventually meet her in Highland Township. That girl was actually a grown woman, a civilian who works to expose online predators. She goes by Casper, like the ghost.
We'd really like to understand.
So would I, but I haven't been like this since I had surgery.
She posts videos of her encounters with alleged predators like this one with Martin in 2023.
You know, he's an EMT. He's worked in hospitals and he's worked around children.
What inspires you to do this?
I was the 13-year-old girl online being groomed by multiple old men. You know, when you're a minor that age, you think that it's not going to happen to you. Nothing bad will ever happen to you.
But Sheriff Mike Bouchard says his office sees adults preying on children all the time.
And so that's the reason, one of the principal reasons I started the computer crimes unit.
The Oakland County Prosecutor's Office charged Martin with using a computer or the internet to commit a crime and accosting a child for immoral purposes.
We encourage anybody that sees this conversation, his picture or anything that may jog a memory to contact us.
Bouchard says civilians like Casper who act as decoys should involve law enforcement sooner than later for the sake of having solid evidence and, of course, safety. For parents and guardians, he and Casper encourage them to always keep tabs on what their children are doing online.
Go through your kids' phones, have the talk with them. Don't ever be upset with them.
Make sure your child understands that no matter what happens to them, they should feel comfortable to come and talk to you.
The sheriff says this investigation is ongoing, and he encourages anyone with information about predatory behavior targeting children online to come forward. In Dearborn Heights, Darren Cunningham, 7 News Detroit.
Other news, a Dearborn County man is in jail accused of having sex with 2 underage girls just 13 and 15 years old.
So the charges come after investigators linked 2 different cases. WLWT News 5 Sean McKinnon is live from the Dearborn County Jail tonight after spending the night with the one of the mothers of those girls who came forward initially. Hi, Sean.
Cherie, that mother asked us not to name her, so we're protecting her identity. We're calling her Becky in this story. Court documents say Braden Phillips, who was 20 at the time, snuck into her home twice to meet up with her 13-year-old daughter.
She said they had sex and he left, and when he came back and he had a plan B in his hand and told her that she had to take it. Made her open her mouth to show that she had taken it.
Court documents show that's what the teen also told experts at the Child Advocacy Center last year. She also said Phillips added her on Snapchat, where they exchanged nude pictures before they had sex twice within a week. The teen's mother, Becky, went to Indiana State Police in July of 2025.
Because I'm like, hey, it's been a long time now. We're still kind of just waiting around.
Becky says charges were never filed, saying state police told her they never received digital evidence they needed. She claims a detective told her this.
At least his name's in the system now, and when he does it again, they'll take it more seriously. And that was just like a gut punch. I mean, it's like, that's what it's going to take. We're banking on him hurting another child before they take it seriously.
Then a similar allegation against Phillips. Investigators say a 15-year-old girl came forward in May of this year. Phillips, now 21 years old, is accused of going to her house and having sex after connecting on Instagram. Investigators say Phillips also bought her a phone so they could secretly communicate, but the teen's parents found it, discovering the conversations with Phillips. Police also say the phone somehow factory reset, possibly from a remote location.
That wasn't a one-time thing you did and learned from and got scared from. You did it, and then you realized you got away with it, and you did it again.
Becky says her daughter, the first alleged victim, is in therapy weekly to process what happened. Phillips is here at the Dearborn County Jail being held on a $1 million cash bond. He's facing child molestation and sexual misconduct with a minor charges. Reporting live in Lawrenceburg, Sean McKinnon, WLWT News 5.
A man from Leander will spend the rest of his life in prison for sexually assaulting children over the course of several years. 56-year-old Adrian Williams was sentenced to a total of 100 years in prison after pleading guilty to 2 counts of aggravated sexual assault of a child and 2 counts of sexual assault of a child. Investigators started looking into him back in 2023 after a child reported years of abuse to the Texas Department of Family and Protective Services. Detectives say the abuse happened between 2019 and 2022 with that child. Investigators say the child's sibling also reported being abused. Now, a judge ordered all 4 prison sentences to be served one after another, ensuring Williams will spend the rest of his life in prison. There's also a permanent protective order in place banning him from having any contact with the victims.
A 19-year-old Metairie man behind bars after investigators say they found dozens of files containing child sex abuse material. Investigators say Enan Ramos was arrested Friday following a tip from the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. Investigators executed a search warrant at his home where they say he admitted to owning the account linked to the material. He's now facing more than 30 possession charges and is being held at the Jefferson Parish Correctional Center. Federal immigration authorities have also placed a detainer on him.
Employees at the punch
and frequently. Breaking news here, a former Franklin soccer coach will now spend 30 years behind bars for sexually assaulting several young children.
Camilo Campos Hurtado was sentenced today. The 66-year-old convicted of sexually exploiting children, along with receiving child sexual abuse material. Investigators say he gave kids drugs and alcohol before sexually abusing them and then recording it. We're told the victims were between 9 and 17 years old. He was also convicted for being in the country illegally.
Good evening and thanks for joining us. A former sheriff's deputy is sentenced to nearly 2 decades in prison on federal child sex charges.
A federal judge sentenced 25-year-old Garrett Gayoso to 18 years and 5 months in prison after he pleaded guilty to 1 count of sexual exploitation of a child and the production of child sexual abuse material. Gayoso was employed as a Cherokee County Sheriff's deputy in 2024 when he met a 16-year-old girl online and traveled to Massachusetts where he sexually abused the teen. In February of 2025, Gayoso was promoted to the role of detective and assigned to investigate online crimes against children. He resigned when the victim's mother alerted authorities to the online activity. Investigators found more than 24,000 text messages between the two and more than 110 images.
A former preacher in New Deal has been arrested, accused of sexually abusing a minor for a year, according to court documents. 48-year-old Brian Townsend was arrested on Friday by U.S. Marshals and booked into the Lubbock County Detention Center. He is charged with 1 count of indecency with a child by sexual contact. Documents reveal the abuse happened from 2019 to 2020. The Lubbock Police Department began investigating Townsend in June of 2022. The victim told investigators the incident happened at a house in New Deal when he had a preaching job there. He is held on a $150,000 bond.
New at 4, an Orange County high school counselor faces felony charges of indecent liberties with students. This is Leslie Bryant. She resigned from the district last month. WRL's Monica Casey was at her first court appearance. Monica, walk us through what happened there.
Well, warrants in this case say these crimes happened in November of 2025 and April of 2026. Here in Orange County Court today, prosecutors say Bryant was sending Snapchats to 2 male students with nude photos and videos. 37-year-old Leslie Bryant was in tears at times during her court appearance Thursday afternoon. She's charged with 2 counts of indecent liberties with a student and 1 count of sexual exploitation of a minor. Bryant was the school counselor at Orange High School until she resigned on June 12th. The school district did not name her in their statement, deferring any questions to the sheriff's office. The sheriff's office says administrators notified a school resource officer of the allegations of misconduct. Prosecutors say Bryant communicated with 2 students who are now 17 and 18 over Snapchat, sending nude photos and videos with sexual content. Her defense attorney argued her mother's death impacted her mental health. Bryant was given a $50,000 bond here in court today. Her next court date is set for July 20th. Live in Hillsborough, Monica Casey, WREL News.
Thank you.
Court judge sentences an Omaha man to 15 years in prison for sex crimes against a child. Jury convicted Warren Ulrich of 2 counts of 3rd-degree sexual assault of a child and 3 counts of child abuse. Prosecutors argued Ulrich engaged in a pattern of grooming behavior involving young children. The judge rejected a request for probation, calling his actions, quote, classic grooming, and saying a prison sentence was the only appropriate punishment.
The Kenner Police Department touting several arrests made by their Internet Crimes Against Children division. We're told 11 people were taken into custody and 10 more warrants have been issued. One of those arrested goes by the legal name Santa Claus. Police Chief Keith Connolly says he dresses as Santa Claus for photos with kids. He's now charged with computer-aided solicitation of a minor and indecent behavior with a juvenile.
We start with some disturbing news. The Montgomery County Sheriff's Office says they're investigating sexual abuse allegations that date back decades. Investigators say the 3 women came forward in May to report they had been sexually abused by Leland Ray Fleming as far back as the 1990s. Fleming is tied to various youth organizations in our area. ABC 13's Daniela Hurtado obtained the court records.
Investigators say Leland Ray Fleming was involved in several youth organizations and ministries, including children's choir and homeschool groups across Montgomery County. He's now been arrested and charged as investigators look for other potential victims. In May, along Cooper Road in Conroe, law enforcement say 3 women came forward to report sexual abuse they had endured while they were children dating back to the 90s. Investigators say in the same month, Leland Ray Fleming admitted to sexually abusing the 3 victims when confronted about it by the victims and a church elder. Investigators say 65-year-old Leland Ray Fleming is charged with 2 counts of indecency with a child, sexual conduct. Court records detail the allegations being made against Fleming, including touching a 9-year-old inappropriately in May of 2013 while telling the child he missed his dead wife. Investigators say the other victim was 16 in 2002 when she had an encounter with Fleming, and the third victim was around 6 to 7 years old in between 1998 and 1999 when she says Fleming sexually abused her. Montgomery County Sheriff's Office says Fleming moved to Arkansas in 2019. Authorities arrested him there and extradited him to Montgomery County over the weekend. Investigators say Fleming used to work with children's choirs and homeschool groups when he lived in the area. At this point, investigators have not said which organizations. As the investigation unfolds, investigators urge anyone with information about Fleming tied to the situation to contact the Montgomery County Sheriff's Office. Daniela Hurtado, ABC 13 Eyewitness News.
Breaking tonight, a follow-up on a story we told you about yesterday. Bennington police arrested a Minnesota man accused of sexually assaulting a child. You're looking at Alec Jones, who's behind bars in Minnesota tonight, awaiting extradition to Nebraska for first-degree sexual assault of a child, among other charges. Last night, we told you about Joseph Bruce and Lindsay Smith under arrest after disturbing allegations they helped cover up the sexual assault of a child. Today, Governor
Tehama County deputies arrested a man who they say admitted to making child sex abuse materials. Deputies say they served a search warrant last month where Dylan Dayberg worked on Kinney Avenue north of Red Bluff. Deputies say they found evidence supporting a tip along with a gun that violates California's assault weapon and high-capacity magazine laws. Dayberg was arrested on several charges, including lewd acts with a child under 14.
A Sturgis man caught with more than 2,500 images of child porn along with hundreds of videos will be spending years behind bars. 21-year-old Luke Bashy was sentenced to 7 years in federal prison, which will be followed by 5 years of supervised release. He's also been ordered to pay more than $48,000 in restitution. According to court documents, Bashy used a chat app called Mega to download the child porn onto his phone between 2022 and 2025. He then stored the illegal material on his Dropbox and Google accounts, along with computers and a hard drive. The victims shown in those downloaded included toddlers and infants.
A Van Buren man has been sentenced to 15 years after failing to register as a sex offender. According to court records, Nathan Matalewicz is a level 3 sex offender. Last year, he was volunteering to teach classes to children at the library. Matalewicz was previously convicted of sexual assault in Pennsylvania. Initial background checks by the library, though, did not show him as a registered sex offender.
It was a close call Sunday night in Salem when police say that a man attempted to kidnap a 3-year-old child. It happened at an apartment complex park on Rose Garden Street Northeast. Salem police said that the child's father fended off the suspect. Fox 12's Leslie Dominique has more from neighbors.
Sunday evening, a Salem man took his 2 children to the park at the Cornerstone Apartments behind me. But that trip to the park would end with him confronting a stranger who police say tried to kidnap his young son.
It was pretty scary, or just
playing, having fun.
Liliana, just 12 years old, watched the entire incident play out before her eyes. Salem police say the victim's father, one of Liliana's neighbors, was at the playground with his 10-year-old daughter and 3-year-old son. That's when 38-year-old Lino Lopez Palafox allegedly approached the family, sparking an argument with the father before trying to take his daughter's bike. Investigators say the suspect then demanded the father's, quote, property, but when he refused, police say Lopez Palafox picked up the 3-year-old boy and tried to take off with him.
This is a grown man picking up a child, and he's not afraid. He did it in public, in front of everybody.
The father quickly intervened and regained control of the toddler. Police say in that moment, a kidnapping was averted.
That is, a superhero, because for him to think that fast, it's either sometimes it's fight or flight, and he really fought for his kid.
Officers responded to the area shortly before 6 p.m. and arrested Lopez Palafox for attempted kidnapping. The close call has prompted safety concerns regarding the playground among some parents.
Makes me scared to let my girls come out and play. This has never happened before, Not that it was supposed to be a safe community.
Teresa has lived at the complex for 4 years now and says she'd feel safer with her niece playing at the park if there were more officers patrolling during the day.
You would think you would be safe just because it's a gated area. It is not surprising just because the area isn't the best, and we have seen a lot of cops in the past.
We have reached out to the Marion County District Attorney's Office for more information about this case. We'll let you know when we hear back. For now, reporting in Salem, Leslie Dominique, Fox 12 Oregon.
All new this hour, Vancouver police have arrested a 38-year-old man accused of exploiting a teenager in Vancouver. Vancouver police released this video yesterday of them arresting Samuel Solman. Investigators say he came to their attention after someone close to the teen reported concerning messages between the victim and the 38-year-old man. Detectives say they learned Solman had met with the teen before and was planning to meet the victim again at a local middle school. Officers were there, took him into custody when he arrived, as you can see in this video. Solman was booked into the Clark County Jail on several child sex abuse-related charges.
Breaking news. I'm Ann McGill, and that breaking news right now coming out of federal court this afternoon. A former Charleston County magistrate judge facing federal charges related to child sex abuse material accepted a plea deal today. James Gosnell Jr. has pleaded guilty to 2 federal child pornography charges, possession involving a prepubescent minor and distribution. Now, each charge carries up to 20 years in prison and a $250,000 fine, meaning that Gosnell could face up to 40 years behind bars. The distribution charge also carries a mandatory minimum of 5 years. After prison, he will have to register as a sex offender and could remain under supervision for up to 5 years. Prosecutors say they will drop the remaining counts at sentencing. Gosnell was arrested in September and originally faced 6 charges. Federal investigators say they found hundreds of child sex abuse videos in a flash drive in his home. A judge must still approve that plea deal.
Thank you. The 18-year-old who's charged with murdering a Collegedale man has had his case bound over to the grand jury.
Kian Andrew Neal was in court for a preliminary hearing today in the murder of 56-year-old Robert Locke. Madison Sims is in the studio now with us to tell us what happened in that hearing. Madison.
Well, Cindy, the center of the prosecution's evidence today was Neal's interview with Collegedale police shortly after he was arrested on June 12th. And in that video, he confessed to murdering Robert Locke, and his reason was because Locke was a registered sex offender. We want to warn you, the details of this story are graphic.
I had this weird idea in my head that it would be cool, our teachers serve what I thought was justice, because I felt like it wasn't being served.
Serving justice. That's how accused murderer Kian Neal explained why he killed 56-year-old Robert Locke. The confession came during his interview with Collegedale police on the day of his June 12th arrest, and that video was played for a packed court during his preliminary hearing. Neal told police that he didn't know Locke, but he found out that he was a registered sex offender, and that motivated his decision.
I had some bad experiences when I was a kid. I guess sexual experiences. I was angry at people who do that type of stuff in general.
He also told detectives that when Locke didn't die, he used zip ties to choke him. Neal told police that he disposed of Locke's body and that it was likely in the city's landfill. But despite their efforts, police have yet to recover his remains. Surveillance footage showed Neal struggling to throw 2 large trash bags into a dumpster at a nearby business.
I don't really have anything else to say for myself. I've regretted it since.
The court also heard testimony from 2 of Neal's friends, who claim he confessed to killing someone and disposing of their body. All of this evidence comes just weeks after Neal pleaded not guilty at his arraignment.
The court concludes that there is probable cause to determine that the offenses identified earlier occurred and that they were committed by Mr. Neal.
Neal's case will be bound over to a grand jury, and we'll continue to cover this case as more information is made available. To read more witness testimony from today's hearing, you can visit this story on our Local 3 News website. Cindy.
Two Rivers police say they've taken a man into custody for exploiting a minor online. 33-year-old Nathan Brace faces several charges, including grooming a child for sexual activity. Earlier this month, investigators received information that Brace was communicating with a child from Two Rivers with evidence he was grooming them for sexual activity, sexual extortion, and sexually soliciting intimate images. He was then arrested at his home in Medford in Taylor County before being extradited to Manitowoc County. He was charged with several counts last week. Investigators believe there may be additional victims who have not yet been identified. They ask anyone for information to contact the Two Rivers Police Department.
New this morning, a 7-month investigation ended with the arrest of a Tehama County man on more than 30 charges of child sexual abuse. This is the man who is now in jail, Thomas Patrick Jr. He faces 32 charges, including the continued sexual abuse of a child. The investigation spanned several counties and included many victim and witness interviews. Just yesterday, deputies arrested Patrick on China Rapids Drive in Red Bluff, and he's held with no bail. Deputies say he's lived in several areas of Northern California, including Tehama and Sacramento counties. If you have any information that could help the investigation, you're asked to call the Tehama County Sheriff's Office.
Argue first, Judge. I think this case is clear. 12 years is not enough, but I understand that is the plea bargain that the state entered into with this defendant to have these cases resolved, prevent 2 girls from having to take the stand and tell about the things that this man did to their body. We have 3 witnesses, including the defendant, come here and tell this court that he should be granted deferred adjudication. He should be given probation because he needs help. Number one, I think that's quite frankly a ridiculous argument when he was facing a continuous sex abuse of a child case. He could have received help then. He could have sought it out then, regardless of what the allegations were, the truthfulness of those allegations. But instead, we have him, that case gets dismissed, and then in 2019, he perpetrates against another young woman, a girl within our community. These girls are going to be dealing with this, for more than 12 years of their life. They'll be dealing with this for the rest of their lives because of this man's actions, because of his inability to stop himself, from his inability to seek the help to prevent him from perpetrating on children. He got the benefit of a bargain, and we're asking that he get the full 12 years because we're talking about 2 girls over a period of 10 years. And the allegations in and of themselves are, I think, show the terrible nature which they were committed, especially when you talk about them, like the court pointed out, happening in public, happening in a park when he gives this young girl alcohol and then perpetrates against her and then takes inappropriate photographs of her, then asks those inappropriate photographs to be sent to him, nothing's going to stop him. And so at least for 12 years, this community can be safe from him perpetrating on another young girl and from him perpetrating and ruining another girl's life and every single life that touches that girl's life. So we're asking that you deny his application and you send him for the full 12 years because he deserves every bit and every day of that 12 years.
All right, defense.
Thank you, Judge. I certainly understand the prosecution's position. These kinds of crimes can't justify them, can't give excuses, and he's not. He did what he did because there's something wrong with him. And it is something wrong deep part of his brain. And I have seen treatment providers, sex offender treatment providers, perform and get people to, I'm not going to say 100% normal, but they have taught them how to not do that anymore, to get their minds off that. And they are subject to, you could give him 10 years deferred. All right. He's 65. He's undergoing serious medical conditions. He's taking care of his elderly mom and stepdad. He served our country. He served our city. What he did is inexcusable, but he, it's not like we have sex offender treatment rehabs advertising and putting billboards all over the city or all over the TV. You only really know about it until you really get in the system. And so we've talked about that. And he wants to find out what is my problem? Why am I like this? He hates himself for what he did. He served 9 months in jail during COVID and has been under house arrest since then, Judge. I think you can, temper punishment with rehabilitation in this case. You can give him 6 months as a condition, 6 months in jail as a condition. That would come up to over a year with the 9 months he did awaiting trial. The sex offender treatment program in Bexar County is outstanding. The counselors are outstanding. He knows he's going to have to register as a sex offender. We talked about the standard conditions of yearly polygraphs and treatment and counseling. And he wants it and he needs it. If you just send him to prison, Judge, I don't know how long he's going to make it in there for his health problems. But he's not going to get treatment. They just don't give treatment in prison. And so we're asking the court for 10 years deferred adjudication.
All right. Mr. Espinoza, I want to let you know that I listened to the witnesses that were called on your behalf. I think it's always commendable when we have people who are willing to come in to give me another insight into you other than what you've been charged with. And I wanted you to know that I appreciate your service that you've given to the community as your time as a Marine, and also the work that your daughter said that you did in the community to help. And each of the cause numbers, the court is going to find you guilty.
Okay, what's she going to do? We're about to find out.
The court will sentence you to 12 years in the prison, give you credit for any time served, $1,500 fine, time and money to run concurrent. Each of the cause numbers will run concurrently. So 2020 CR 4378 and 2020 CR 4377 are running concurrent. There's to be Chapter 262 compliance in each of the cause numbers. And in each of the cause numbers, there's to be no contact with the complainants or the complainant's family. And I believe both parties are aware of of those persons, and I've included those names on the docketing sheet. So those names will be on the judgments, and those are the names that are in the indictments. Is there anything else with regards to sentencing from either side?
Judge, we just have victim impact.
Right.
I don't know if the Zoom is working.
No one has zoomed in. All right.
She said that she
No one's in the link. Just give me one moment. In each of the cause numbers, I'm going to show you what's entitled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Rights to Appeal. Did you review that document with your attorney? Did you understand it, and did you sign it?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Because this is a plea bargaining agreement, because I followed your plea bargaining agreement, and because you waived your right to appeal, you do not have the court's permission to appeal. Do you understand? All right. Good luck to you. What we're going to do is I'm going to have you remain, because my understanding the state has victim impact, but that's going to be by video, okay?
See ya, Chomo.
One for a rainbow, one for Amanda.
Who you playing with, sweetie?
Amanda.
Oh, who are you?
I'm Amanda. I'm 6, and I love unicorns.
Sexual predators are seeking kids online.
We don't know Amanda.
Learn how to report abuse at end-violence.org/protect.
When a child experiences trauma, they can be stripped of their ability to imagine. But imagination is colors. All the colors. Imagination is freedom, and whatever you want it to be. But a child without imagination is not a child at all. Will you help defend our right to imagine?